The 2017 Pokemon World Champion used Zebstrika to get top 100 on the Stadium ladder in Regulation G, and he is updated with a new version for Regulation I that features Zebstrika alongside Zamazenta and a new Pokemon in Ceruledge. We're going to be trying out this interesting team and seeing how well it can perform. This is Ryota's Zebstrika Ceruledge team that focuses on the Iron Defense Zamazenta. Let's break it down. First up, we have the Choice Scarf Kyogre with the Drizzle ability to summon the rain with the Water Terra type with Water Spout, Hydro Pump, Thunder, and Ice Beam. The Water Terra type with a Choice Scarf Kyogre just allows it to outspeed a lot of Pokemon, including some Scarf Urshifus, some Chiyus with that timid nature, and alongside being able to outspeed, more importantly, the Calyx Shadow Rider and Zacians, which just allows the Kyogre to threaten a lot of damage with that Water Spout and the Hydro Pumps in the rain with the Water Terra type, just boosting the damage even further. Thunder and Ice Beam for coverage because you have to hit Terra Waters, water types like opposing Urshifu, and Ice Beam to be able to hit the grass and dragon type Pokemon out there. EV spread wise, this is just a simple max speed, max special attack Kyogre with a timid nature, which is necessary in order to outspeed Calyx Shadow Rider, and 4 remaining goes into the defense here to take on the physical hits a little bit better. And otherwise, it's pretty much just a Kyogre, which isn't really meant to be a sweeper. It's meant for a really good opener, able to dish out some pretty powerful damage with the Water Spout and the Hydro Pump, as well as summon the rain for the Zamazenta, or it could be a really great late game cleaner. Next Pokemon we have is the Rocky Helmet Amoonguss with the Regenerate ability, which is able to heal itself when it does switch out with the Dark Terra type, a good defensive typing against Calyx Shadow Rider, but also being able to ignore the pranks or taunts and encores out there. With Spore, Pollen Puff, Clear Smog, and Rage Powder. Overall, Amoonguss, there's not really much to say about it. Like, it puts Pokemon to sleep. It's able to redirect with Rage Powder. You have Pollen Puff for recovery, especially on a bulky Pokemon like Zamazenta, and a Kyogre, which does rely on its HP in order to dish out a good amount of damage. It is a pretty nice one. And we have Clear Smog on this Amoonguss, which we don't commonly see as much, but Clear Smog is really able to help out against Dondozo, because otherwise this team wouldn't really have much of a Dondozo matchup. So if you run Clear Smog for Dondozo, it can also help out against like the bulky stuff like the Calm Mind Lunalas out there, alongside the Calm Mind Terrapago. So it does have a few things that it can do. EV spread rise, it is 236 HP with 236 defense. It's pretty classic in order to be able to tank Ace spread Glacial Lance from Calyx Ice Rider, the rest going into special defense. And the only really notable thing about this Amoonguss is that it is actually max speed IVs. And normally we see the Amoonguss go a little bit lower in order to outspeed like Calyx Ice Rider in the Trick Room. But because you do have Zamazenta plus Kyogre, it's not as necessary to underspeed the Calyx. So it's still able to do quite a bit there. And you know, you could outspeed opposing Amoonguss, which can be actually beneficial because you might be able to get the Pollen Puff follow-up before the Amoonguss on their side can. Next Pokemon we have is the Zamazenta with the Rusted Shield to give it the crown form, the Dauntless Shield, which gives it +1 defense per battle, with the Water Terra type, which is able to help out against really strong water type attacks, really strong fire type attacks in general, which is a pretty solid defensive typing. The Body Press, Heavy Slam, Iron Defense, and Protect. So we're seeing a Zamazenta that doesn't run the Wide Guard, and yeah, it's interesting, but we have seen this combo before where the Zebstrika plus the Zamazenta, which was a combination that Ryota has used in the past, it is able to just set up the Iron Defense with the Zamazenta, which means that A, it can set up, B, if it is forced to switch out, you could still be able to set up 1 Iron Defense, and then Body Presses are still heavily hitting the opponent even without the initial Dauntless Shield boost. And yeah, that's what the Zamazenta is designed for. It does have max defense with the Iron Defense, so this initial damage output from Body Press is still impressive, but after a boost, it is really able to dish out a ton of damage. A good amount of HP investment is actually 1 HP point away from getting more HP recovery from the grassy terrain, but so be it. And then 68 speed, which is just able to speed creep opposing Zamazenta, and a few Pokemon, which is the Timid or the Jolly, max speed base 90s. This Zamazenta doesn't really play as defensive as a Wide Guard Zamazenta. It is more of a setup and initial damage output mon. Next Pokemon we have is the Yvesangelist with the Booster Energy, giving it a speed booster with the Quark Drive ability, with the Ground Terra type, which is able to help out the Yvesangelist specifically against Miraidon and any other electric type moves. You have Snarl, Hurricane, Tailwind, and Protect, a pretty standard Yvesangelist. Hurricane in the rain is very accurate and it's a really powerful flying type attack. Snarl to help out against Calyx Shadow Rider, Miraidon, and of course all those very powerful special attackers when you are having a very physically defensive mon in the Zamazenta with Iron Defense boosting on the physical side. Snarl is able to reduce the special attack damage output that your opponent can throw off. And Tailwind speed control, of course, is just very nice on the team. This EV spread, it is able to just be able to outspeed quite a bit after that boost energy, the base 100s with a choice scarf, and it does have a good amount of bulk, 164 HP and 180 special defense, just to be able to take on those hits better, especially from like Calyx Shadow Rider, the Dazzling Gleams from Miraidons, and more. And just having a little bit of special attack so it can do a bit more damage output and 4 into physical defense. Yvesangelist, more of a speed control mon, pairs well with Kyurem, good against the Calyx Shadow Rider, and just helps the Zamazenta on the special side because it is already pretty bulky on the physical side, especially when you're setting up. The Yvesangelist just makes a lot of sense because it supports both restricted. That speed control is really nice, and the typing is solid for what it adds to this team. Next Pokemon is the Life Orb Ceruledge with the Flash Fire ability, which means it powers up its fire type attacks when hit by a fire move, and it is immune to taking damage from those fire type attacks. The Fairy Terra type, which is a good defensive typing, but also a pretty good offensive typing as well. It makes it immune to the Dragon type moves like Draco Meteor from Miraidon, and then can fire off a Fairy Terra Blast into like Pokemon like Koraidon and more. So with Bitter Blade, Shadow Sneak, and Terra Blast, it's a pretty good type coverage combination. And we don't really see Ceruledge too much, especially in restricted formats, but it does have a few things that it can do. One is that it just shuts down Koraidon if they don't have a Dragon type move, and even with a fire or even with a Dragon type move, they do have the Fairy Terra type, so that's something to keep in mind. It's also a nice Fairy type resist because it does have some decent bulk in its base 75 HP, which is pretty low, but a good base 100 special defense, which is solid. And it is able to just switch into Dazzling Gleams that way and threaten good amounts of damage with the Bitter Blade while also recovering the HP, which is solid. And Shadow Sneak is just super great into the Calyx Shadow Riders, being able to revenge KO that way. So it can be very nice to be able to pick up a weakened Shadow Rider or just snipe one potentially. But the EV spread, it is a max attack Ceruledge in order to dish out as much damage as possible. 228 HP, which is able to give it maximum grassy terrain recovery while being a number that is -1 of a number divisible by 10. So it takes less HP recoil from the Life Orb. And then the remaining going into the speed to speed creep Pokemon like Rillaboom if they don't have any investment. We don't commonly see Ceruledge too much, but it can help out, especially in the Weather War. Since you're running a Choice Scarf Kyurem, it's a little bit hard to switch out. So when you need to switch into a Koraidon attack, when you need to switch into a strong Fairy type move, Ceruledge is able to help out snipe a Calyx Shadow Rider, can help out a bit against Lunala, and that Terra Blast can catch opponents off guard. Final Pokemon on this team is the Focus Sash Zebstrika with the Lightning Rod ability, which is able to draw away the electric type moves and give it a special attack boost, with the Ghost Terra type that's able to help out against Fake Out, especially in the extreme speeds, with Supercell Slam, Taunt, Screech, and Protect. So Supercell Slam is basically a jump kick. It's laid a electric type jump kick move. And normally we would see Wall Charge, but the fact that Wall Charge just always gives recoil guaranteed isn't really great on a Focus Sash mon, and physical electric type moves are really scarce. So you do have the Supercell Slam, which if you do hit into Protect, you take 50%, but otherwise if you do land, you don't lose your Focus Sash, so it can be a decent trade-off at times. The Taunt, of course, is just really good to be able to shut things down, like Trick Room, the Amoonguss, Leech Seed, Calyx Ice Rider, and more. Screech, which is the big one here, which is able to lower the defense of the target by 2 stages, which is really nice because it can help out with setting up for the Zamazenta. The Zebstrika does outspeed the Zamazenta. You could go for a Screech into a Body Press, so it can do a ton of damage, as well as like a Screech Heavy Slam. Or another thing that Screech is really useful for is lowering the damage output of opposing Zamazenta, because if you go for Screech, you lower the defense by 2 stages, their Body Presses at -1 aren't really doing too much damage to your team, and you don't have to worry about dealing with their Zamazenta as quickly, so that's always super solid. The E spread is a very fast Zebstrika designed because, you know, Zebstrika is one of the fastest Pokemon out there. It can outspeed Pokemon like Whimsicott, even outspeeds Tornadus, Incarnate. Why not just go max HP, max speed anyway? Because you do have to Focus Sash, but still having a good amount of bulk with 196 HP. It's not really a damage dealer. It's base 100 attack. Supercell Slam is not really getting any really crucial knockouts anyway. So just invest the rest into bulk if the Zebstrika is taking like multiple hits from Pokemon in general. So just being able to maybe survive attacks across the board, because it doesn't have the best defenses in the world, gives it a better chance in fighting utility than just going into attack or Supercell Slam to not really do anything significant in the match. Because this is really a support. Zebstrika helps in the Miraidon matchup, helps just with Zamazentas in general, and that Screech and Enabler, while Taunt is able to shut down opposing setup. So how to use the team, a lot of it is setting up with the Zamazenta. It's able to do a lot of damage utilizing the Iron Defense. One Iron Defense just allows Zamazenta to go crazy with a +3 body press, and you can dish out a ton of damage there. You have things that are able to support it, like the Pollen Puff and Redirection, as well as the Sleep that Amoonguss can provide. You have the Tailwind and Snarl support from the Yvesangelist, weakening the power of your opponent's special attacks. You have the Kyogre, which is able to summon the Rain and dish out a good amount of damage, either as a lead Pokemon or a mon that can clean up in the end. You have the Zebstrika, which can just support, make Miraidon not be able to click the electric type moves it really desperately wants to, and the Screech support, as well as Taunt to shut down anything that your opponent really wants to set up for. And then the Ceruledge, which is a mon that can switch in and snipe Calyx Shadow Riders and Focus Sashes in general, can be very solid. There are a lot of different potential leads you could go for. Yvesangelist plus Kyogre, the Zamazenta, compare with anything. Zebstrika can just lead in general. You could have it in the back to be able to switch into the electric type moves in general, because your opponent might be hesitant. Yeah, it can lead Amoonguss next to anything, of course, with the Redirection and the Spore. And Yvesangelist Tailwind is just beneficial with Zamazenta Kyogre. There's just so many things that you could potentially lead and set up towards. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, it'll be linked in the description down below. And let me know in the comments down below if you did play through Pokemon Black and White or Gen 5 in general, and what was your team that you played through the game, because I actually did use Zebstrika on my first playthrough of Pokemon Black and White, because I thought it was a cool Pokemon. I really enjoyed Blitzel when it was on the first couple of routes, and I did like having electric type that was fast, and I just used it on my team, even though it was probably the weakest mon on the team in general because of its poor learning coverage. It was still a pretty solid mon. So let me know what mons you used in your first playthrough of Pokemon Black and White, if you did play through them. And yeah, let us get started and play some games. Miraidon, Calyx Shadow Rider, Chestnut, Incineroar, Urshifu, and Whimsicott. Alright, this is quite the interesting matchup right here. We have a Chestnut, we have Miraidon and Calyx Shadow Rider. Actually, you know what's funny? I actually kind of like the looks of this team. I actually kind of do. What do I want to do in this matchup though? Because it is a bit spooky dealing with the Miraidon Shadow Rider with Wide Guard. So that's going to be, this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a very tough one. Do I just want to go Yvesangelist immediately? It might be the play. I'm a little bit scared of like Ursh lead. Yeah, this is tricky. I think I want to lead Miraidon Zamazenta because it's the most neutral defensively against this team, which I think is the play. Can I bring Kyogre? I feel like the answer is no. I mean, it can, yeah, I think the answer. Well, if I don't bring Kyogre, that Chestnut could get out of hand, I suppose. I think I still bring the Zebstrika and the Ceruledge, because I think having a backup mon answer to Shadow Sneak the Shadow Rider is so important in this matchup. Like, I really think it is. So we'll see. I'm going in with Blind Hurricane and no restricted, but I think powering up the Urshifu is just such a big mistake. We're gonna see the Yvesangelist plus the Whimsicott immediately. Okay. A little bit of a tough one here. A little bit of a tough one. There's no way you Electro Drift immediately when I have Zebstrika. I think I still go for a tail window with the Iron Jugulus. Are you Sash Whimsicott on this team is a good question. Electro Train's up, so I don't have to worry about like losing. I didn't lose my booster energy. I think the play is to go out into my Zebstrika and just click a Heavy Slam into Whimsicott. Because I could potentially get Tailwind up later in the game, and if they go for the electric move, they are very greedy here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Dazzling Gleam if they don't know the team. But if they wide guard, it's just so bad for me. So let's see what they do here. As Tailwind comes out. Nice. Nice. Big. Okay, huge. Paragon would have worked too, but this is also still pretty good. I get a Heavy Slam off into Whimsicott. That is a very bulky Whimsicott. It's Rocky Helmet Whimsicott. Jeez. I'm not really scared of Whimsicott at the moment. I wonder if the Miraidon is choice locked here, because if they're choice locked, I could get like a Screech off. But I think my best play is just to Supercell Slam and Body Press, because it covers a lot of the switches that they could have. I'm gonna double up the Miraidon, because if Shadow Rider comes in, I put it in range of Shadow Sneak, which is pretty huge. I wouldn't be surprised to see them risk Shadow Rider here. But let's see. That's not Shadow Rider, that's Chestnut? Okay. They're gonna get an Electric Seed boost. Why does the Chestnut look huge in this game? Okay. We used Chestnut before, but it did not look as big. We're gonna see the light screen come out, which is fine, as we do get a Supercell Slam off into a Body Press. I could have went for the Screech Body Press, but it is what it is. That did nothing. Okay. I think the place to always just go on to my Ceruledge, and I'm actually going to Iron Defense with my Zamazenta, because then I could go for like Protect Shadow Sneak into the Whimsicott and eliminate their Tailwind mode, which is great for me, I think. So I will go on to Ceruledge. They're going to go for a Moonblast hard down to Zebstrika because they want to get rid of that a Lightning Rod user. Elite Seed my Zamazenta, which is unfortunate. I was hoping that they would Body Press my Zebstrika or Body Press the Zamazenta, but I still think this is fine overall. Like, I don't think these are terrible trades here for me. And then I think we just go for a Bitter Blade into the Whimsicott slot and a Protect. Yeah. Fortunately, okay, they protect the Chestnut, which is really good for me. Maybe fearing like how much the Body Press would do. I feel like they're probably going to just try to Encore my Zamazenta, but we'll see. Maybe they went for Moonblast. Maybe they don't have Encore. Fake Tears. Ooh, they tried to set up for KOing the Zamazenta, but not falling for it. Not falling for it. As we do get the Bitter Blade off into the Whimsicott, take the knockout. And that Bitter Blade does give us a little bit of recovery, which is going to be negated by the Rocky Helmet anyway. And the Life Orb, but you know, it's better than if we went for Shadow Sneak and took more recoil. So not a terrible trade, not a terrible trade. Shadow Rider, if it has Encore, could be spooky, but they have to choose between going for that and losing their Shadow Rider to a double up here. Did they Terra? They haven't Terra'd yet, which is a bit concerning. I go for a Shadow Sneak Body Press into the Shadow Rider. Shadow Rider does come in, which is not surprising. I mean, I have a few different plays here. I could Shadow Sneak sack my Ceruledge. I could swap out into Iron Jugulus, which should be pretty safe for the most part. I'm kind of leaning towards the Iron Jugulus play a little bit more, because I could see them going for the Terrasalization here. I think my play is to go out into my Iron Jugulus and go for Protect. Oh wait, I just protected the last turn. Shoot. Actually, if that's the case, I still want to go Jugulus on this slot. I'm gonna go for a Heavy Slam into the Shadow Rider, as I would like to break a Sash if it is a Sash, because it was Rocky Helmet Whimsicott. It could be Sash Shadow Rider. It could be Specs. We'll find out based on this turn, I think. But let's see. We are going to see a terrestrialization come out. I think this has to be Shadow Rider. Okay, so Shadow Rider, so it's probably not Sash then. It's going to be Terra Dark. So that's why I wanted to get Jugulus in and protected, but I protected the last turn. So I could have went for like protect body, tail and body press the next turn if that was the case. We're just going to see Astral Barrage, which is fair. I should live. Yeah, I live with both, which is great. I will get a heavy slam off into the Shadow Rider for some pretty good damage actually. And body press double up the Zamazenta makes a ton of sense. Okay. I like this trade a lot because I think Ceruledge is just in such a good spot. I think Ceruledge is in a fantastic spot here. I do have some text here that will be coming out into this team. Now, my Ceruledge is unfortunately not faster than the Shadow Rider, which is a bit unfortunate here because I would just be able to easily go for a Bitter Blade or a Terra Blast immediately. I think I still have to go in. Do I have to go out into it? I think the better play is probably to go out into... I think it's still out into you, unfortunately. Yeah, it is still into you. I think I have to hit Hurricane. I think I do have to hit one Hurricane. Gonna go for Hurricane Protect, I think. I think the Chestnut might be scared, or they might play aggressive and go for Body Press. Let's see. Man, I wish the Ceruledge was faster than the Shadow Rider here because it would make my life so much easier. No protects on their side, or at least a Shadow Rider part. Mikey Shield? No. Hurricane gonna come out into the Shadow Rider. Ooh, that did less damage than I was hoping for. I do get a bit confused though. Does that confuse matter? Let's see. It does because it hits itself, but I don't think that's in Shadow Sneak range, unfortunately. I go for Body Press into the Jugulus. That KOs Jugulus. Okay. Ooh, wait, that's bad. That's bad. I didn't think Body Press would KO. Oh, the light screen was up. That's why. Okay. I think I have to go for the Shadow Sneak KOing the Calyx at this range because I can't really see anything else. I'm pretty sure I have to. I think I go for the Taunt into the Chestnut and the Shadow Sneak into the Shadow Rider. Oh, this endgame was not as I wanted it. I mean, we do see a Protect on the Chestnut, which is good. It really just depends on the Shadow Sneak KOs the Shadow Rider. Can we get the KO on Shadow Rider? We do. Okay. So that's actually huge. That gives me a fighting chance. All right. So it should be Wide Guard, Leech Seed, Body Press, Spiky Shield on this Chestnut, right? Like that's what we would assume the moveset is. Which means if I get a Taunt off, it can't do anything to my Ceruledge. They don't know my Terra, and I haven't Terra yet in this game. I think I just double protect a Scout for what the Miraidon locks into, and then afterward I punish it accordingly, right? Because I want to see if they Draco Meteor lock in, because if they Draco Meteor lock in, I will go for the Terra Fairy, but if they don't Draco Meteor lock in, I just go for attacks with Ceruledge, basically. Okay, they go for Gleam. Good. Good. They Body Press the Zebstrika. Tricky spot. I will always go for terrestrialization with my Chestnut. The question is the timing now. Do I live a Dazzling Gleam from Specs into Boost? I probably do. I feel like this play just depends on if I read Chestnut to protect here. Because if I get a Screech Bitterblade off, I think I KO the Chestnut and I'm in such a good position. I think I'd go for it because I think I need to resist. And I think they were going to go for Body Press or they were going to go for the Leech Seed here. And it looks like they did attack. So I do get that play right as Dazzling Gleam going to come out, but it's nowhere near enough damage. Actually, that really didn't do that much damage to my Zebstrika. I wonder if they're Choice Scarf and not Choice Specs. We do get a crit Bitterblade off. I don't think that mattered because it was -1 defense Chestnut, and that's such a big difference in the calcs than +1. So, plus a Life Orb Bitterblade from the Ceruledge. So we get all that health recovery back. I was worried about how much the Dazzling Gleam was doing to my Ceruledge, and I think I need recovery. Otherwise, I had to go for Terra Blast, and I was just worried that after I go for Terra, I don't resist Dazzling Gleam anymore. So does Terra Blast KO the Miraidon, which was a good question because I think that was a big one. Now I think we're in a safe position. I think I can go for Protect and I can go for Bitterblade here. Because I'll probably be a little bit less HP, but the thing is that little bit of extra damage on the Miraidon might be huge. Yeah, because like the Dazzling Gleam's not doing much. Bitterblade, a little bit less than I was hoping for, actually. All right, I think the question is, do we pull it off with our Ceruledge? I think that's a big question. I go for... I mean, it doesn't matter what Zebstrika does because it probably goes down this turn. The big question is, do I get crit with Ceruledge or not? I think it's the main one because I do have Terra and I will go for Terra Grass here. And, or not Terra Grass, Terra Fairy, Terra Blast, and does it KO the Miraidon, which it should. It should. I think the main question is, do I get crit? Do I get crit with Ceruledge? So we'll find out. We'll find out. Go for the double fails. Dazzling Gleam. Okay, we don't get crit. Also looked like, I don't know, the rolls look a little bit different, but I do think we would have barely lived crit, it looked like. I think we would have barely lived crit. So Terra Blast going to come out into the Miraidon, and even if we don't KO, we get the Shadow Snake KO for sure. It would have definitely been range of Shadow Snake, but we do get the KO. So we are able to pull a victory there, and that's fantastic because the end game ended up being spookier than I thought. I forgot that my Ceruledge is now faster than Shadow Rider under Tailwind, which kind of just shows how strong, how dumb Shadow Rider's speed, like that 150 speed tier is just absurd. Because I thought I was, and then I looked back at my strategy. I mean, I looked at the speed stat, and I'm glad I realized. So I needed the Hurricane Fusion actually. Maybe I didn't. I think it depends on how bulky the Shadow Rider is, but oh man, the fact that it did it itself, I was able to get the KO on Shadow Snake and then get the right play on the Chestnut read, I think was massive because I needed that Bitterblade healing. Or, well, I guess since it wasn't doing that much damage, if it went for Terra Fairy, Terra Blast into Miraidon, it would have worked out, assuming I get the Screech off into the Chestnut. But yeah, that endgame was a lot dicier than I thought it should have been. Calyx, Shadow Rider, Zamazenta, Xian Pao, Amoonguss, Raging Bolt, Tinglu. Okay, pretty standard build. Trying to think of how I can position the best spot. I do like Yvesangelist and I do like Zamazenta. They're all good Pokemon. I do have to worry a bit about the Amoonguss, but I think it's probably manageable. Unfortunately, I don't really like Zebstrika in this matchup. It doesn't do much here. I mean, Amoonguss is good. Amoonguss is always good, but I don't think it's as good in this matchup because I definitely want Kyogre for Water Spout. And I think it's Ceruledge, right? Or is it Amoonguss? Because Amoonguss 4 and Pollen Puff are good, especially to control the Zamazenta. Raging Bolt's like the only reason I would want to bring Zebstrika because that means I could Terra Water safely and not really have to worry. I think it comes down to like, does Pow have Sacred Sword on this team as well? Because Sacred Sword Pow is a bit tough. Do I want to bring Amoonguss though? Because they don't have the best Spore answers. But I think Ceruledge, Shadow Sneak is so nice, and I mean so nice into Shadow Rider, because it makes such a big difference in how like this end game will be played out. Because a lot of what I bring is with what I'm committing with my Zamas. If I'm committing with my Zamazenta, Shadow Rider is the biggest problem. So I need answers to the Shadow Rider. We're gonna see Xianpao Zama. Okay, that's fine. Who's faster? Who's Zama's faster? Because who's Zama's faster is gonna make me decide on my move here. There's Zama's faster. Okay. So I will have to sack my Jugulus to get Tailwind up. It's all right. Not ideal, but it's all right. We're gonna go for our Iron Defense, and we're gonna go for our Tailwind. Curious if they're gonna rip the Terra immediately here. Ooh, Pow Protects, which is amazing for me actually, because I get to keep my Iron Jugulus around, so I do get the Tailwind off. And Iron Defense set up with my Zama. Okay, that's good. That's really nice. As they body press my Jugulus. Okay. Ooh. I mean, I'll take it. I don't take any damage with Zama. That's a pretty nice trade here, I think. Yeah, because I can go out into my Ceruledge. I think I double up the Xianpao. With... They can Terra Ghost, but I feel like it's really unlikely they go for Terra Ghost. I think I go for a Shadow Sneak plus into a Body Press. Because whatever comes in is taking the combo, and I don't think they have any good switch-ins other than Moongus, but I don't know if they would switch into Moongus here. Never mind. Never mind. I'm taking some pretty big Rocky Helmet chip. I mean, I did do a lot of damage, but it didn't do that much back, though. Oh, the end game is going to get complicated, I guess. But we're going to Bitter Blade. They don't have a switch for Amoonguss, and there's no way they Terra that low HP, I think. They're going to Terra the Zama. This is definitely Terra on the Zama. They're crazy. They're crazy. That is an insane play. They got me if Bitter Blade doesn't KO. That's a crazy play to go for. Wow. He actually did go for it. If I went for Shoustic, I think I KO'd guaranteed. Let's see if the Bitter Blade KOs. It's a stronger move. Oh no, I KO. Yeah, I'm like, I think it goes down at that range, but if they did, like, I would have been shocked, but that works out beautifully for me. They lost to Terra. Okay. I don't know what they were expecting, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Who are they going out into? I feel like if the POW Protect, it's probably Life or POW by the way they're playing. We're going to see the Shadow Rider come in. I think it's always Body Press into the Zamazenta. And we Terra Fairy Bitter Blade? Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. Because I get the recovery, and I break a sash on the Shadow Rider to put in range of Kyra's Scarf attack. So that's the goal. All right. Terra Fairy with the Ceruledge. Oh, wait. Hold on. They get the Astral off first. Right? Body Press, KOs the Zama. They do go for the Astral. Yep. I hope I survive one. Yeah, I do. Okay, perfect. So I get the Bitter Blades. I get all this recovery. And now it's in range of my Shadow Sneak. And I'm not in range of Sucker Punch from the POW. Okay, so no, this was the right play. Because now POW comes in. And I go for a body press into the POW. Plus a Shadow Sneak into the Calyrex. Yeah. Because Kyogre wins the end game by clicking Spout. If the Xianpao, like Xianpao either goes down this turn to the Zama or it goes for an attempted KO into my Ceruledge. Either way, it's fine, because if I do lose my Ceruledge here, let's say they protect the Shadow Rider and the Xianpao goes for an ice move into my Ceruledge, Zama takes a KO on Xianpao unless it's Sash Xianpao, which is fine as well. Because then I still have a Choice Scarf Kyogre. Water Spout's still going to clean up even if they Sucker Punch crit me. But yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah, they Sucker Punch my... Oh! A bit more damage than I expected. I thought I would take that a little bit better. But I do get the Shadow Sneak off. And I do get the Body Press KO. So I do seal that win here. Perfect. Well, I mean, it could have came down to crit. But like if they crit me, they crit me. So... They would have +1. Yeah, no, crit would have probably lost me the game because I don't have Origin Pulse on the Kyogre. But I mean, I'm trying to play without dealing with the crit anyway, and like at that point, like I already had so many mons weakened. Like if they crit me, they crit me. Like what can I say? But we do take the win there. We do take the win. All right. The Terra Water Amoonguss play was crazy though. I was like, Amoonguss is so low, and Bitter Blade, I'm pretty sure even resisted still does like slightly more than Shadow Sneak. So I was surprised to see the Terra Water. I'm like, but I was like, does that even work? My head was like, did I misremember Bitter Blade's power? I'm pretty sure Bitter Blade is still stronger, but like, yeah, I still KO'd the Amoonguss even with resist. What is this team? This is a Miraidon, Calyrex, Ice Rider, Hisuian, Goodra, Grimmsnarl, Iron Hands. Did I say Rhydon? I don't even remember if I said Rhydon, but like, what is this team? This team looks crazy. All right. I really like the combo of the Zebstrika plus my Zamazenta here, which I think is really good against him. I bring a Amoonguss. I'm not sure. Ceruledge is actually pretty decent in this matchup, and I do like it a lot. Do I like Kyogre? I mean, they're not bringing Rhydon in this matchup, so do I really like Water Spout? It's tough because I think I could get more value with Amoonguss plus the Ceruledge. I think it only depends on if they have Terra Fire on their Calyrex Ice Rider, I assume, but I think I probably bring Amoonguss or healing my Zamazenta, because a lot of this is setting up my Zamazenta to win this game. I think I should play extra cautious against this team, especially the Miraidon. For all I know, this could be Overheat Miraidon, because every weird team that has Miraidon can have Overheat. So I will be extra cautious of Overheat on Miraidon on this team. We're gonna see Calyrex, Ice Rider, and Grimmsnarl, which, all right, and Zamazenta and my Zebstrika. I mean, this is a perfect spot. I get to click Taunt into the Calyrex Ice Rider, deny Trick Room. I don't know if they're gonna go for Trick Room, but so be it. I'm gonna Taunt. I'm just gonna go for an Iron Defense. Because even if they get Reflect Up, if they fake out the Zama, so be it. I deny any big setup strategy. I should be fine here. They do fake out the Zama. Okay, so I do get a Taunt off. That took a while for the fake out. We get the Taunt off into the Calyrex. Glacial Lance, okay. I think I just protect and I Iron Defense this turn. Because I'm curious on what the Grim has. So it just has Fake Out Reflect, okay. Which is cool. My Zama is in a pretty good position to just keep going for Iron Defense. They Glacial again? Yep. All right. I mean, we can stall out glacials. Yeah, because the Zama's just eating them right now. My Amoonguss is bulky, but I think we always just go Ceruledge here and just Iron Defense again. Get to +5. All right, let's see. I don't think they're gonna high horsepower because they sell Iron Defense. They probably know I don't have Wide Guard. A Parting Shot, which is fine unless they have a Terra Ghost on one of these mons. I'm 100% scouting, by the way. For the Miraidon to have Overheat, I'm 100% scouting. That's Miraidon, okay. Here's the Iron Defense once again. That's +5. Is a Glacial again. Taunt wears off. I think I'm just gonna double protect. I want to scout for the attacks here for my opponent. I don't think Leech Kali Ice is that big of a problem when I do have Pollen Puff on my Amoonguss to heal the Zamazenta, and I'll out damage the Calyx every time. So I wonder if I could force a Terra, but I'm kind of curious on what they're gonna try to lock into here. Gleam is a, I mean, I just really want to figure out like what the Miraidon's going to click. They might even double out the Miraidon, trying to bait my Zebstrika switch in. Let's see. Do you have Overheat? If you have Overheat, I'm clicking Terra Water. If you click Dazzling Gleam, I'm just going to not Terra. They didn't Terra at all. A Draco. My Ceruledge. Ooh, should I reveal the Terra Fairy? I feel like revealing the Terra Fairy is actually worth it here. You do have Leech Seed, okay. I do have Terra Fairy. I'm willing to commit it because if I get rid of the Calyrex, I'm in a great shape. I think I will. Because they're probably locked into Terra Fairy at this, or Draco Meteor at this point. So I'm going to go for Body Press plus Bitter Blade. Because if they don't Terra the Kali Ice expecting Draco Meteor to threaten the Ceruledge enough, I'm in a great position. No, they have Volt Switch. Ceruledge lives. Oh my goodness. Okay, so they were in choice locked, unfortunate, but thankfully Ceruledge, the GOAT here, the GOAT, Grimmsnarl coming in, that doesn't matter. They didn't tear the Kali Ice. I mean, this is Reflect, but this is +5 Body Press. Good damage. Bitter Blade should definitely KO. Oh, good. Good. And I'll even have enough HP to actually survive the next hit. So Ceruledge sticks around in the field as a Pokemon that can actually do stuff. So that's nice. That is nice. So we saw Fake Out, Reflect, Parting Shot from this Grim. It's either a Light Screen or they have an attack. Or they have Thunder Wave, and this is like no attack Grim. Just gonna double protect on the Fake Out. They're just gonna forfeit because they're like, yeah, you have the Zebstrika in the bag. The Zamazenta is just gonna destroy me. They kind of knew. Oh my goodness. The fact that we lived a Volt Switch because it wasn't specs. I mean, I knew that they weren't going to be specs if they did that, but thank goodness they clicked Volt Switch, because if they clicked Electric, the game's different. If they click Terra on the Kali, it's different, but they definitely expected to KO. I mean, they knew I wasn't switching him a Miraidon, so they went for the Draco first, or an into Zebstrika first. So they went for the Volt Switch. They caught me, but Ceruledge was just too good there. All right, we have Miraidon, Grimmsnarl, Zamazenta, Volcarona, Iron Hands, and Chien-Pao. This is a pretty standard team. How do I want to perform against it? Well, we have some counters. We do have the Zebstrika, which can actually put in work here because we do have Screech Zebstrika for like really powerful attacks, but also just draws away Thunder Wave, Wall Charge, and the electric moves from the Miraidon. So I do like the Zebstrika here. plus Zamazenta is also really tempting, so I think I would bring those to 100%. I don't know if I would bring a Moongus. I'd probably say no. Do I want to? I think I always bring Kyogre because Water Spout's really strong, especially against the Volcarona, which is a hard Pokemon to deal with. And then last one, I bring. There's so many I could bring. I'm definitely leading Zebstrika though. I think with Zamazenta, the Screech combo seems really powerful. Kyogre 100%. I just don't know if I'm bringing Jugulus, which can be a decent mon here with Hurricane support as well as Snarl. Or do I want to go with like Ceruledge here? Because not terrible. Terra Fairy actually does some pretty decent work here. You know what? I'll bring Ceruledge. I think a Moongus could have just been the safer way to pivot around this team. But I might as well just try out all the fun tools that this team does have. So if I can bring them and they're viable, I think absolutely. And it also does help out against the Iron Hands, which can be a bit of a threat. Especially because I have some pretty good combos with the Screech as well. We're going to see Miraidon Zamazenta versus my Zebstrika and my Zamazenta. So this is actually perfect because I can go for like a Screech plus a Body Press immediately into their Zamazenta. And that would be a very good start here. My Zamazenta is faster than theirs, which is okay. I will go for... Yeah, I don't see a problem with going for the Screech here. I'm going to go for a Screech into the Zamazenta and just Body Press immediately. I really want that damage in the Zamazenta. We're going to see a Terra actually come out immediately. Is this going to be the Miraidon? No, it's the Zamazenta, which is going to be into the... It had to be Terra Ghost, man. All right. So that's unfortunate, but at least it is going to be -1 defense, so it's not going to be doing too much here. We're going to see Dazzling Gleam come out. Okay, that makes sense. So... I do take a decent amount of damage as we do get the Screech off into the Zamazenta, which will lower the defense. Body Press, unfortunately, going to fail into the Zamazenta, but they won't be doing that much damage back to me, at least. Yeah, they do go for the Body Press. It does KO the Zebstrika. But, I mean, Kyogre's in a decent spot here. Offensively. Or I could go Ceruledge, and Ceruledge actually is pretty tempting. Ceruledge is pretty tempting here. I think I am going to go Ceruledge. Yeah, I don't see a problem with going Ceruledge here because I can just go for a few different plays. I have a Bitter Blade play plus an Iron Defense I could go for, which is actually pretty tempting. I do want to... I just kind of wanted to get damage. I was thinking of Iron Defense, but it might be better just to get attacks off here. I think I am just going to go for a Bitter Blade plus a Body Press combo because they don't have any good switch-ins to this combo. Like, they could switch out Miraidon and Volcarona. It'll take a bunch of damage, which I am okay with here. So let's see. That Volcarona? No, Pow. Okay, I don't mind getting rid of Pow either. That's a pretty nice KO if I can. So, Body Press into the Pow. Brings it down to Focus Sash. If I went for Shadow Sneak, this would have been better because I would have gotten rid of the Pow before this Body Press goes into Zamazenta. But I mean... It's not really doing too much, as you can see. It really didn't do too much damage at all. A Bitter Blade going to affect the POW here, so I do get rid of the POW at least. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. So POW eliminated. The Terra Ghost has been on the Zamazenta. Let's see who they are going to bring out. Probably going to Miraidon back in, although Electric Terrain is ending soon, so that's something my opponent does have to watch out for as Miraidon does come back in. I mean, they're going to go for electric move. I just don't see a reason not to just double protect here. They're so adamant about saying it was Zamazenta, so I'm completely okay with this trade here. Let's see. As we do go for the double protect, as we're going to see what come out from the Miraidon. Going to be Electro Drift harding down the Ceruledge. Okay, so they're focusing down the Ceruledge, which is fine. And a Body Press into the Zama. That last Body Press was boosted by Sword of Ruin, so I think this is an okay position to just go for a Shadow Sneak into the Miraidon and Body Press. And I'm okay with this trade because if they Electro Drift to Ceruledge, I get this Shadow Sneak and the Body Press damage to put it in the Scarf Kyogre range. And if they decide, hey, I'm going to go for the Electro Drift in the Zama, that means that I still have a very healthy Ceruledge in the back. So Ceruledge is going to be taking the beating, so it does go down here. But I think we're okay. I think. So we get the body press, almost get the KO onto the Miraidon as body press comes out in the Zama. Okay. I'm curious about how the rest is going to play out because it really depends on the last Mon. But I think we go for Hydro Pump into the Miraidon and we go for the Terra Water. I should have Terra Watered the last turn, I think. Yeah, I think I should have Terra Watered the last turn. But I am going to go for an Iron Defense with my Zama and Terra Water so I can take their body press better. And if it's like hands in the back, I'm hoping that my Zamazenta can beat down the Iron Hands as the last slot. We're going to go for the Terra Water. So we are neutral to body press, and then the Iron Defense stack should be helpful here. We need to hit a Hydro Pump first, and we do hit the Hydro, which is great. So we do KO the Miraidon. Beautiful. All right, Miraidon goes down. And then Zamazenta gets the Iron Defense off. So we will have a boosted Zamazenta. We're +3. That's really nice. Let's take go for body press in the Kyogre, actually. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. Electric Train disappears. Here's the last Mon. Is it Volcarona? Or is it Hands? It's Iron Hands. Yeah, okay. That's what I expected. Perfect. I think I just go for damage in the hands because they can only fake out one of the Mons, and I'm pretty sure they can't knock out my Zamazenta with fake out and a body press, and they actually fake out the Kyogre. So this actually works out beautifully because I get a body press off into the hands. Almost take the knockout, as you can see. Body press shouldn't KO Kyogre because of that screech from earlier. And now I think we do have to land one Hydro Pump because I think we need the damage. But if we do get this, I think we're in a phenomenal position. Because this Hydro Pump should do a ton of damage to their Zama. I get the KO on the hands with body press. And then I think Heavy Slam might be able to do enough. Because they're -1 defense, remember. So I do get the KO on hands. We do get the... We do take the trade here probably onto Kyogre. Yeah, body press gonna KO. Perfect. Well, I mean, not perfect. It would have been better if they targeted down my Zamazenta. But at this point, I just need Heavy Slam to do enough. Ooh, even at -1 defense, that's not really doing that much damage. Body press, but their body press is not doing that much damage either. Just 2 Heavy Slams knockout. That's gonna be close. That's close. That's really close. Heavy Slam. I think it's gonna miss it barely. Body press doesn't KO, but I think I just needed one extra turn, man. I'm gonna go for the Heavy Slam again. Oh, so close. So close. Oh. What I went wrong, I think, is I did expect the hands back by how they were playing. I think I should have Terra Walled my Zama earlier and not taken as much damage from the body press when I went for the Shadow Sneak and the body press. Because, like, Ceruledge wasn't... If they were turning into Ceruledge that aggressively, it probably meant they didn't have a Pokemon that could touch in the back, really. So I think I should have just went for the Terra Water turn earlier, which is a bit weird, Terra Watering in front of the... Miraidon like that, especially with a low health Zama. But if I just had a bit more HP, as you saw, like, I would have just been able to win that game because I did have the Zamazenta that was just set up in a better position. But unfortunately, it was just because I didn't have a little bit more health remaining, because if I went for the Terra Water earlier, it would have made a huge difference. Tornadus, Dragonite, Qianpao, Urshifu, Calyrex, Shadow Rider, and Zamazenta. Okay. Tornadus, Ursh. We got Dragonite Pow. We have Calyrex, Shadow, Zama. Feels like a different version of 222. All right, what do I want to go here? Because it is a bit of a tough one. They got priority, although that's not really good into Zama. I do like the Iron Jugulis a lot, as I can match their Tailwind. And Water Spout's pretty good. Ceruledge is decent. I probably don't bring the... I don't think I bring my Zebstrika, unfortunately, in this matchup. It doesn't do enough. I think it's probably Ceruledge in the back, because Shadow Sneak's pretty good. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Jugulis, and I think the Zama's pretty fair. I think it is pretty fair offensively. And then Kyogre back with Ceruledge. I think that works out. I was debating about bringing a Moongus, but the problem is I think they're bringing Torn plus the Shadow Rider, so I think it's just really hard to get the I think it's really hard to set up my Amoonguss. Let's see. We're going to see POW plus the Zamazenta. Okay. Versus my Iron Jegless and Zamazenta. All right. Whose Zamazenta's faster? Go to Ruin activate. Mine is faster. Okay. Really good. Because I can go for Iron Defense here. Iron Defense is pretty massive. They're probably just going to go for Ice Move into the Jugulus and go for a Body Press. And because I have Iron Defense, I can set up a nice position to just be able to tank attacks. They go for the Terra. I did want to scout for it if they were going to go for Terra with Zamazenta. We do see that Zamazenta does go for the Terra and Terra Grass. Okay, so I mean, it's vulnerable to Hurricane now, I suppose. But that means Shadow Rider can't Terra, which is big. So we will protect our Jugulus in this position. Don't Sacred Sword my Zama here. I don't think they probably do. Ice Spinner. Okay, nice. And here is the Iron Defense. So we should take Body Presses pretty well. Oh, they're also Iron Defense. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Okay. I could go for Hurricane, switch to Kyogre. Even if I lose my defense boost, if I get the big damage into the Zamazenta, it's not bad. I think I want the speed advantage, though. I think I Iron Defense again. I need to make sure I take the Body Press, alright. Also, I really want to see what the item is on the POW, because that is a really important factor. Are you Sash or are you Life Orb? Ice Spinner. Terra didn't change anything, so I wasn't going to go for Terra. They KO'd the Jugulus. I have a feeling it's probably Life Orb. No, it's not. Okay. They go for Body Press. Did you tank it? Nice. All right, so the POW. Okay. Trying to think about this. The Ursh is a little bit of a problem, but I think overall I can go out and Kyogre. I don't need Terra Fairy. I think Terra Water to Zama's fine here. I'm going to go for Ice Beam into the Zama, and I'm going to go for the Terra Water Body Press into Zama as well. Because with this combo, I'm hoping to take the own Sword of Ruin advantage against them. This Terra Water will help out in case the Zama survives. I don't think it does, but we'll find out. Oh, they Wide Guard too, which is perfect. Okay, beautiful. I do get the Ice Beam. Good. Crit doesn't matter, I think, because the Body Press should definitely KO. All right, goodbye, Zamazenta. Another crit. I mean, I don't think the crits matter, but we do get rid of the Zamazenta, which is fantastic as they go for Crunch. Oh, Sacred Sword. I mean, the Terra ended up being really good there. Yeah, perfect. Okay, nice. I mean, I would have lived the Sacred Sword, it looks like, but I mean, it's super ideal. Shadow Rider coming in. What do I think is the last? Probably Ursh, right? If it's Ursh, I need to get a KO here. It's probably Life Orb Shadow Rider, I think. And I'm pretty sure they go down to Heavy Slam plus an attack. I'm gonna go for it. Because I have to read who protects here between POW and the Shadow Rider. If they both protect, it's fine. But my ideal position is to KO one of these Pokemon and then lock in the Ursh, which probably is Choice Scarf, which would be super ideal. Oh, no protects at all. Okay. Again, Ice Beam off and Heavy Slam with Sword of Ruin. It KOs the Cali. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, perfect. We get the KO onto the Cali, and then I think we seal the win here. They go for Sacred again, but... Oh. It's Dragonite. Gotta use the Terra. Oh, this is awkward. This is awkward. I thought it was Ursh. I live +5. I doubt I live at +5. I doubt it. I think we still have to Ice Beam the Dragonite regardless. And I guess we body press the POW? This is rough. Endgame wise, it's just so tricky dealing with the POW. They protect the POW, so they can only get a knockout into one slot, which is good. Oh, it's not Choice Dragonite. That's so bad for me. Oh, that's so bad for me. That's really bad. Well, there's Sacred Sword, so they don't have Crunch. I don't think they're doubling up the Kyogre ever. Maybe multi-scale Dragonite, right? I think we protect Ice Beam. I don't think they double up the Kyogre because I think they have to respect the Zamazenta. They Extreme Speed the Kyogre, which is fine. Actually, take 2. I do get a nice Ice Beam off in the Dragonite. It is multi-scale confirmed. Ooh, I get a Freeze, which could be helpful? Question mark? When I say could, I mean thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna retreat Zama if they're gonna make the same Sacred Sword play. They could unfall and go for Extreme Speed into the Ceruledge and Sucker Punch the Kyogre, but we'll find out. They don't unfall, which is thank goodness, but the game's nowhere near over. Okay, nice. All right, I get the Ice Beam off into the Dragonite. Dragonite goes down. Excellent. As I go for Sacred Sword into the Zama. Perfect. Weakness Policy Dragonite is a brand new one. All right, they have to get every turn right here. Unfortunately, I don't have setup on my Ceruledge. If I had set up my Ceruledge, we could stall out the Xianpao suckers. Now let's see if this is a mind game. Do they Sucker Punch Kyogre? Do they Sucker Punch Ceruledge? Or do they read my Kyogre switching on to Zama? Because it is a bit obvious to switch on the Mon locked into Ice Beam here. I'm going for it. Okay, nice. I think we guarantee win off this. Because now I can go for Body Press, Bitter Blade. And they can only target one Mon. They'll be brought down to Sash. And then I just finish up with another attack because they can't get 3 KOs in the span of 2 turns. So, okay, I got lucky in that end. I didn't think it was Dragonite. Weakness Policy was the big one. I think, like, if the Dragonite isn't Weakness Policy, I win. But the fact it was Weakness Policy means I needed to freeze. Because, oh my god. I felt like I had good turns. I was able to KO the Shadow Rider. If I was able to get that turn right, the best solution would have been to double up the POW with Ice Beam Body Press, even at the cost of an Astral Barrage, because then I bring in the Ceruledge and then I Shadow Sneak the Shadow Rider, which doesn't have Focus Sash at that point. But I think it depends on the Dragonite moveset, because Dragonite could still clean up my Ceruledge depending on, because it could change moves, because I didn't think it could change moves. I thought it was just Choice Spin. Got a bit bailed out there by the freeze, but we take those. All right, we have Whimsicott, Volcarona, Incineroar, Urshifu, Miraidon, Calyx, Ice Rider. Tricky. Tricky. I don't want to go. Did I bring Jugulus in this matchup? Because I'm not a huge fan of how Jugulus plays in this. It's like okay, but it's not like amazing. I'd probably say I don't bring it. I think Ceruledge plus Zebstrika is pretty good. I definitely bring Zamazenta. Then I would have to bring Kyogre if that's the logic, because I would need to way to break through. Actually, do I need a way to break through? Well, I want to. Do I? I mean, breaking through Volcarona makes my life easier. And I mean a lot easier. I am bringing Ceruledge. The only problem with bringing the Kyogre is that means Urshi's is going to be really hard to handle. So maybe it's still Zebstrika plus the Zamazenta with Amoonguss Ceruledge back. I might be insane because I feel like this might not be the play. I'm out of time though. I don't need rain in this matchup. Air Water is okay with the Zamazenta if I position it correctly. Finding out the Kali Ice item is going to be huge because if it's Clear Amulet, I can't Screech it. But if it isn't Clear Amulet, I can Screech it, which is actually pretty big. We're going to see Whimsicott Miraidon, which is not a surprising lead. Okay. Versus my Zebstrika and my Zamazenta. All right. I think I just double up the Whimsicott with a Supercell Slam into a Heavy Slam. Yeah. Because if I get rid of the Whimsicott, I don't have to worry about Encore, so I can go for Iron Defenses. I think that's always ideal. They can only lock in a Draco Meteor. Just don't have Overheat for some reason on this team. Like, if this Miraidon has Overheat... but they have 2 electric types. I just don't think that's the case. We're going to go for Supercell Strike and the Heavy Slam. I don't think they switch into Volcarona and Whimsicott turn 1. If they do, incredible play. But it's still an electric terrain boosted a Supercell Slam, so it should do a decent amount of damage. Tailwind going to come out from their side and Dazzling Gleam. Okay, so they're just okay with going for Dazzle, which is fine. It doesn't do much damage. I get to slam off into Whimsicott, break a potential Sash, and Heavy Slam will follow up into Whimsicott, picking up the knockout. So no more Tailwind on their side available. They do get the free switch, but Miraidon not really doing that much. It's just locked into Gleam currently. So if they go out into like say Volcarona, I'm just gonna switch into my Ceruledge. And I think that is Volcarona, so that's perfect. All right, perfect. Oh, it's Electric Seed. I mean, that does make sense. I think the play is just to go Ceruledge here. And protect. Internet Volcarona is going to be a bit annoying, but otherwise, like, I think everything else is pretty much in line with what I've been expecting from this plan. We go out into Ceruledge. We protect our Zamazenta as they go for Snarl. Oh no, it's Assault Vest. Didn't do that much, but that's still a lot. Fiery Dance. Okay. Big Flash Fire. Big Flash Fire. Snarl? Wait, your Snarl Dazzling Gleam? Do you not have Volt Switch? I'm confused. Okay, they can switch up moves. I do have Flash Fire Boost though, which is pretty nice. I think my play is to Terra Fairy Bitterblade the Volcarona and get recovery back and go out into Zebstrika on this. This might not be... I think this is okay, but this could go pretty poorly depending on if I lose Zebstrika this turn because I go for the Bitterblade into the Volcarona. This might not have been the best play. I feel like I shouldn't have wasted my Terra here because I don't think they're going to Draco my Ceruledge, but if they do Draco, that's really good for me. If they go for the electric move, it's really good for me because they might think I'm not inclined to switch. Maybe I should have went out into my Zebstrika on the Ceruledge slot and just body press for a chip or Iron Defense Terra Water. That would have worked too. I think that would have been actually really good. They go for Rage Powder, which is super ideal for me actually because they didn't go for Fiery Dance, which means I should live the turn with Zebstrika. Go for Gleam. Perfect. Okay, that's fine. Because I get a huge Bitter Blade off into the Volcarona. That's massive damage. Won't be taking Rocky Helmet Chip. I'm going to recover all that HP. Yum, 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 yum. It turns of terrain left. 2. I think we double protect this turn and then Bitter Blade switch into Amoonguss the next. Yeah, scouting for protect from Volcarona. That's always nice. I mean, I could have Terra Blasted a Miraidon, and Terra Blasted a Miraidon would have been awesome for me. But at the same time, I still think that this is a pretty good trade-off. What are they doing with the Miraidon? Probably just going for Snarl or Dazzling Gleam. Yeah, that makes more sense, actually. All right, nice. I'm going to go for Bitter Blade and a Volcarona because they probably are scared of me having Terra Blast on the Ceruledge. I did reveal Terra Fairy, and I think they should probably respect the Terra Blast. Otherwise, I could have just set up maybe like some bulk ups. I'm just going to Bitter Blade the Volcarona, go out into Mungus, because I want to keep Zebstrika around because Zebstrika just means they can never click Electric type moves with the Miraidon. Last turn of Electric Terrain, so they won't have Electric Terrain anymore, so I can go for Spore afterward, which is pretty big, but I think a lot of this is going to depend on how healthy is Ceruledge going to be after this turn. Can we live like a Gleam afterward? Gleam. All right, that did 60. They go for Tailwind. Okay. Interesting. As we do get the KO on Volcarona. So Volcarona is gone. That's huge. Electric Terrain is disappeared from the battlefield as well. I think I live a Dazzling Gleam from the Miraidon too. But unfortunately, Cali Ice is under the Tailwind now. So their full set was Tailwind, Rage Powder, Fiery Dance. Okay. Oh, it's Ursh back. Wait, that's amazing for me. They can't KO Mungus. Pretty sure I can just Terra Blast the Miraidon. Wait, they haven't terrored yet. Oh, if they're Terra Fairy, this is bad. Actually, my play is just a Spore, right? I think it's just Spore to Miraidon. I think it's Terra Blast and Spore to Miraidon. Yeah, they're gonna Terra. I think this is Terra Fairy. Oh, they Terra to Ursh. Into Grass, that makes sense. Okay. It still works out for me because I do get the Spore off. I wonder who they target with the Ursh. Probably the Ceruledge. A Draco Meteor to Mungus. That wouldn't have KO'd because they're not choice specs and there's no Electric Terrain. 30 strikes. Okay, so good thing I didn't Rage Powder. I get a healthier Mungus though. That's kind of big. That is kind of big. We also confirm it's not Scarf Ursh, so I have no idea what the Ursh set is. But I do get the Spore off into the Miraidon, and that's pretty massive. The game is nowhere near over, though. The game is nowhere near over. The Dragomir miss does help a lot. It wouldn't KO, but the fact that a Mungus can stick around healthy is actually really big. We have to go out into the Zamazenta here. I feel like this is probably Banded Ursh. If it's Banded Ursh, my play is just to always Body Press and Pollen Puff, because that does more. This endgame's super spooky, though, because I think it's going to come down to Miraidon sleep turns. Because they didn't protect the Ursh. Surging comes out. I think that is banned. It is doing a lot. Actually, is that? I can't tell. It doesn't actually. No, now I look at it, that shouldn't be banned. Mystic Water, probably. Body Press, good amount of damage. I don't think I'm KOing with the Pollen Puff, though. Oh, I am. Okay, no, I think I seal it there. Ooh, crit. I have no idea if the crit mattered. I have no idea if that crit mattered. But I will take it. I will take it. And then our best play is to click Body Press and Spore into the Miraidon, because if they awake, they either Electro Drift KO. Well, actually, if they did Electro Drift KO my Zama, can I win the endgame? I mean, Amoonguss can definitely still. But I think it'd be super rough, actually, now that I think about it. So, maybe not the best play. I was worried if they Gleamed, but then again, Gleam shouldn't KO Zama at this range. I think I just body. No, I protect Spore. Was this 3 turns of sleep or was that 2? I think it was 2, but if they wake up, it works out. Okay. Am I throwing this end game? I am really curious if I am throwing this end game. I think I'm just gonna body press and rage powder. I think that's always the play here. I think this end game was, I could have thought about the turns more, but I think it's like very likely I just win, especially since I had the faster Zama. Did not realize that. Okay, no, I should guarantee win here. Yeah, because if they Electro Drift, I mean I auto won. If they Draco Mirror, yeah, I didn't KO the Amoonguss. I mean, it did come down to sleep turns as well as maybe the potential crit, because if Pollen Puff KO'd the Ursh, Amoonguss went down, but my Zama was faster, so I guaranteed to win. I also had Zebstrika around with the Lightning Rod, as well as the fact that they would have been -2 special attack, or -4, I guess, because they would have knocked out Amoonguss. But yeah, I think like we could have just had the game sealed. But yeah, body press Spore I think is always the play here. I mean, it doesn't matter because Zama's faster than the Miraidon, so unless it's a speed tide. But that means that, look, I don't think they Electro Drift there in that situation. They either click Gleam or they click Draco. If they click Draco, they lose the game guaranteed because Body Press will KO. If they go for Gleam and crit my Miraidon, I get the Spore off, and then I get like Supercell Slam into Pollen Puff, and I think I should just win off that. So I'm pretty sure I had it locked. But not the best well-played end game. The Volcarona set messed me up because the fact that they had Tailwind as well. I think there were a few ways I could have probably maneuvered that game. Like again, I could have switched out Ceruledge. I think the Bitter Blade play worked out really well for me though. But the fact that the Miraidon had Dazzling Gleam and Snarl, that messed me up because I was like, usually you interchange the moves usually if it's like a Solvus Miraidon, but the fact that they had both changed it completely. All right, let's go over to games. In game 1, a dicey game with me misremembering my speed stats, and Ceruledge was not faster than the Calyx Shadow Rider under Tailwind, along with forgetting that Light Screen was up so Hurricane did less damage. Not exactly too sure if there was anything I would have really done differently other than maybe go for the Hurricane and the Chestnut. It just came down to some reads at the end of like, what does the Chestnut do? Does it Spiky Shield? Because if Spiky Shield's on that turn, it becomes pretty dire, and I had to go for the Terra Blast read into the Miraidon, but luckily got the calls right and was able to win the game. In game 2, crazy Terra Water Amoonguss play that did nothing because it did go down to Bitter Blade. I was like, there's no way it lives this, and I was shocked that they made that play, but I was worried it might have lived. It did not survive, thankfully, and I was able to set up nicely for my Ceruledge and Choice Scarf Kyogre to clean up, assuming no Sucker Punch crits. In game 3, wasn't sure what to expect, but Zamazenta was just able to click Iron Defense against a passive start, and the clutch survival from the Ceruledge allowed me to knock out the Calyx Ice Rider, which was massive. In game 4, should have Terra Watered earlier with Zamazenta. I think the start could have been a bit better, or maybe the play was to Shadow Sneak the Chien-Pao instead of going for the Bitter Blade on that slot where the Miraidon switched out, but I wanted to punish a potential Volcarona switch. So I really do think it was just mainly go for the Terra Wall with Zamazenta earlier because the Terra wasn't really too important in this game to any other Pokemon. In game 5, didn't expect them to also be Iron Defense Zamazenta and thought I was in a nice spot after getting the knockouts, but the fact it was Weakness Policy Dragonite changed the outcome so much if it wasn't for the clutch freeze from my Kyogre, which I am very glad I did because I thought I was in a good position, but apparently I wasn't in this game because it was really rough dealing with the Dragonite. In game 6, was not expecting both Dazzling Gleam and Snarl from the Miraidon, with Tailwind Volcarona, which made the match very difficult. Last Mon thankfully happened to be the Urshifu Rapid Strike, and while the endgame was shaky, Zamazenta was able to clutch up and win the game with Amoonguss. So how was the team? It's not like Zebstrika is a crazy Mon, which is going to be brought to every battle, but it did do work against all the Miraidon teams we played. Ceruledge actually kind of impressed me. We brought Ceruledge a lot more than I anticipated, and it was able to put in a solid amount of work with the Bitter Blade, the Shadow Sneak. I just wish that it was a bit faster than the Calyx Shadow Rider under Tailwind, because that would have just helped out secure so many game plans in the ending. So I think that would be the one change I would probably make to this team if I were to recreate it. But really cool. The Iron Defense Zamazenta is just such a massive threat. Doesn't need wide guard on this team because it is more of a offensive Pokemon than it is a support mon to like Calyx Shadow Rider, so it can get away with not running wide guard and just dishing out a huge amount of damage. If you would like to try out the team though, there is a rental code on your screen. Hopefully it's still available by the time the video comes out. Otherwise, you can check out the details of the team in the creator down below in the description, and of course subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.